welcome, welcome. We're excited
Hello.
that you could join us this afternoon for a shared webinar. We're going to spend about the first 30 minutes talking all things scholarship with Phi Theta Kappa, and then we're going to hand it off to our stellar membership team, and they're going to interview a scholar from last year's cycle and talk about some of the other benefits of membership. So you're going to get the best of both worlds today with the webinar. We'll get started in just about a minute. We're going to let everybody get in who's been waiting. Through the presentation, if you do have questions, we would love to answer them for you. However, we're a little pressed for time today, and we had about 1,200 people registered for the webinar. So if you would drop your questions in an email, and Kristin, if you'll drop our email address in the chat, that would be great. I'll introduce our little team here in a minute. But if you'll drop your questions in an email, Kristin will put the email address in the chat box so that you guys can just email your questions, or if you want to open an email and just start listing your questions as they come to you and send us one email with all your questions, we'll certainly get to those as quickly as possible. So I am Laurie Brown. I'm the Director of Scholarships here at Phi Theta Kappa. Joining me on the webinar today would be our stellar scholarship specialist, Kristin Ware. So if any of y'all have received a scholarship in the past, you know you've got an email from Kristin requesting paperwork from you. Also joining us on the call today is Paige Rakestraw. She is a membership's, forgive me, Paige, consultant or specialist. I'm not sure what you.
I'm a
A
specialist. Yes.
specialist,
Hi,
yes.
everyone.
Yes,
Yes.
welcome, Paige. And I believe we've got several members of our membership team joining us in the chat as well to answer questions. Asia Madison is with us. She's a scholarship specialist as well. And there may be some random one or two people in there that I don't know about, but there's quite a few people here to help you figure out, navigate through this webinar and get your questions answered as quickly as possible. So, ladies, do you have anything before we begin? We good?
I'm
Everybody's good?
good. I'm
All
good.
right. All right. So today we wanna let you know that we're here for you to get you into scholarships, because we know that's one of the number one reasons students join Phi Theta Kappa. We're going to talk a little bit about what we have to offer today, how you can get into the application, and some best practices maybe to get you into the scholar category. Now we've got a little bit of a problem. There we go. So here at Phi Theta Kappa, there are two different kinds of scholarships that are associated when you accept membership. Those that we administer internally, which is about 21 different programs on an online application that's open all year round, and external scholarships that are offered to you as a member by partnerships that we form with four-year schools across the country. About 900 schools across the country will offer scholarships to our members, but we do not handle those applications, nor do we disperse those funds. So we'll get into how you find all those later. What we want to talk about right now are the scholarships that we administer. And one of the main differences, one of the main ways to tell whether you're not getting one of our scholarships or one of those scholarships from the four-year school is if you get a paper check from Phi Theta Kappa, it's one that we handle. So those funds are given directly to you. Kristin will drop that check in the mail after she's gotten what she needs from you, and you can deposit that in your checking account and use it for whatever kind of educational expenses you have. We'll have about 80,000 students start an application. About 20,000 through the course of the year will finish. What we like to tell students is you cannot compete for our money if you don't complete your scholarship application. So we'll recognize just a little over 600 scholars every year, and we're just about $1 million in funding directly into your hands at the end of this process. So we are struggling with the there we go. I'm struggling. All of my buttons are in different places. So before you get all excited and dive into the scholarship application, every scholarship that we offer has a purpose. So if you are an engineering major, and I'm going to pick on all the engineering students in here, if you're an engineering major, I really don't want to see your name in my nursing scholarship application. Because that is a program that is designed strictly for nursing students who are getting ready to graduate and take their NCLEX exam. Last time I checked with an engineering student that lives in my house, he didn't have to take an NCLEX exam. So understand the purpose of the scholarship before you start an application. It will help you. Now, unfortunately, scholarships are not automatic here at headquarters. You do have to do an application. We do have to push those applications to a committee of judges, and they do make our selections for us. So that's very important to remember as we're moving through all of these programs. So all these icons that you see on the screen are programs that we do administer here through applications on our website. So what's open right now with a December 1st deadline, because I'm sure that's why everybody's here, the All USA program, including New Centuries and the Coca-Cola Academic Team. In 39 states across the country, you'll also be eligible for inclusion on an all-state academic team, which brings its own set of perks, which we're not going to talk about right now. Also, the Guistwhite Transfer Scholarship, the Heights Transfer Scholarship for students who have some unforeseen financial obstacles, the Oberndorf Lifeline to Completion Scholarship, few regional scholarships, and also for you nursing students, for you pharm tech students, we've got 2 applications open for your exams, for your NCLEX exam and your pharmacy tech certification exam. You can find all that information on our website, scholarships.ptk. Is that right? www.ptk.org/scholarships or scholarships at ptk.org. Now that's the email. Kristin, you'll just fix it.
I'll put everything in the chat. Don't you
She'll
guys
put
worry.
everything in the chat. There's a lot.
The website is ptk.org/scholarships.
Scholarship.
And then if you want to get to the application, it's scholarships.ptk.org. They all sound alike, so I'll put everything in the chat.
And then if you throw the email address in, it's even more fun. So anyway, here we go. We've already covered these. Oh, if you're here, the All USA Academic Team program is the largest program on this. It's the one that carries the most national recognition. It's a $5,000 scholarship. It's given to you during the recognition in March, April. That does require nomination by your college. So every single college campus in the country and some sovereign nations can nominate students for this program. So if you're interested in this program, we do have lots of information in our support library, and I'm sure Kristin would love to drop the link to the support library in there. We do try to empower you with as much information as we can. So we do have a fantastic overview of the All USA program, including information on how to write your essays, how to request your letters of recommendation, and the general process that you'll follow to ensure that you're in the best position to get that nomination from your college. The other scholarships like the Heights Transfer Scholarship, the Guistwhite Scholarship, Oberndorf, the regional scholarships do not require nomination from the college at all. Okay, so we talked about visiting the scholarship app at scholarships.ptk.org and completing your application. The fall deadline is Thursday, December the 1st. And it says 5 o'clock, but I'm feeling a little gracious, so we're going to not really stick to 5 o'clock. If it's 6 o'clock, we're fine. But we are sticking to December 1st. We do not anticipate any extensions. We will not be requesting any extra time. I know that bumps up on Thanksgiving holidays and it bumps up on final exams, but this is October the 20th, so mark your calendars accordingly. Get started now. Keep it relevant. If you've got one out there, go get it updated. Keep it fresh. It's very dynamic. You can add to it as you go. You can proofread. You can do all kinds of things. It is available to you until December the 1st, no matter how many times you hit the finalize or submit button. It is still there waiting on you. So don't let December 1st sneak up on you. So typically, and Kristin can back me up on this, we get a lot of people that will email us or call us and say, what scholarships am I eligible for? And we worked really closely with our IT team, and they have come up and given us a quiz. And if you will answer the questions, 12 questions, 14 questions, if you answer those questions honestly, The program will tell you what you're eligible for, and it will only open the sections you need to complete. So while I don't have time to advise, 60,000 people individually on what they're eligible for, if you want to know what you're eligible for, my best piece of advice is to log into scholarships.ptk.org and take that eligibility quiz. It's easy. It legitimately takes less than 3 minutes, and it will tell you what you're eligible for. If you're eligible for programs, those sections will open. As soon as it opens, there will be a download button visible in the upper right-hand corner. You can hit download. It will create a PDF of the entire application, and you can download that to your computer. You can print it. You can review it. You can see what's needed. There's a link in the eligibility page to the required elements so that you know kind of ahead of time what we'll be asking you to give us. And then when you get in there and you start working through the application, your little sections will turn green. As you're finished with a section, the whole section will turn green, and your progress bar, the percentage, will increase. When you're 100% complete, your bar will be green. All your sections will be green, and when you hit the submit or finish button, you'll get a confirmation message. Congratulations, you finished your scholarship application. So that's how you know when it's complete. If you see anything that's red, anything that's orange, you're not done. There is a submit or finish button. Sometimes it says one thing or the other. It should say submit at the lower left-hand corner on the last tab or section of the application called the waiver tab. Once you hit that button, it's in. Don't fear if you need to make a change and it's not December the 1st, you can go back and revise your application, hit submit again, and we're fine. The last question is, how do I know if I received a scholarship? We'll email you. Everything we do from the time you start your quiz is handled by email. So if you're in there and you're completing your scholarship application, you're going to get an email from us periodically that says, hey, you're not done. You still have an incomplete application, or we have a webinar coming up. Come join us. Or, hey, you waited to the last minute. Here's some tips and hints to help you get around that last corner and get this finished. All communication is done by email. We use the email address that you put in the scholarship application. So be sure it's an email address you're checking. Be sure it's an email address that will accept emails from the @ptk.org domain, because we have a lot of students that have it flagged to go to spam. Also check it periodically. Every single form of communication, including your scholarship notification, is handled via email. The timing will be best addressed on this next slide, which tells you where we are in our application process. So right now, we're taking applications. It's open. We're providing help. We're providing assistance. We're going to close on December 1st. We're going to move into judging and review for January and February of next year. We'll vet and get them approved in March and start announcements. Do not have an exact date. This is very open to the processes that are involved in selecting scholars, but we do realize that everyone needs to know pretty early if they've gotten an award, because it does have a bearing on where you're transferring in the fall. So by the end of March, everyone should know. Even if you're not awarded a scholarship, you'll get an email that says you weren't selected. So everyone who has a completed application will receive some form of email notification by early next spring. So far, have I missed anything, Kristin? Good. She keeps me on track. All of these programs, we have a lot of questions and a lot of students with a lot of residency statuses. They call the email and they say, am I eligible to apply? Our scholarships are open to full-time students, part-time students, non-traditional students, dually enrolled students, students with a variety of residency statuses. The only hard and fast rule for fall right now is you've got to have at least 36 credit hours earned by the end of December, and you have to be enrolled in associate degree coursework in at least 6 hours through the end of December. So at this point, if you're taking one class or you're in a bachelor's program, you are not eligible to apply on this scholarship application. If you are enrolled in at least 6 hours and you're going to have 36 hours finished by the end of December, I encourage you to take the quiz. The quiz will tell you what's up. If you think you're eligible, if you've read through some of the guidelines on um, the scholarship page, you think you're eligible, but it's giving you a not eligible, send us an email. We will look at your application, we will look at your quiz, and we'll help you determine if you've answered something incorrectly, or if you maybe misunderstood a question. If you are not eligible, we'll give you some other resources that you can pursue for scholarship help. Right, as I said, all my farm tech people out there, all my nursing people out there getting ready to take the NCLEX, those are expensive exams. Get these applications in. They're due December 1st as well. For any of my students out there taking TEAS prep course that need TEAS prep coursework or HESI study materials, we've got a kind of side scholarship for you guys. It's not really a scholarship, but we're giving out discount codes for prep course materials for TEAS and HESI courses. So there's a question on the application if you're going to be taking TEAS prep stuff or need TEAS prep stuff. All these are listed on the website. So if you don't find them on the website, send us an email. We'll send you the link. All right. And Kristin can vouch for this. One of the best practices that you can have when you're ready to do a scholarship is understand the deadline. Put it in your phone, put it in your planner, put it on a calendar, put it on a sticky note, put it in all those places. December the 1st. There will not be an extension. I'm going to tell you that. I'll tell you that 3 or 4 times. There are no extensions. We didn't extend. I don't think we extended last year. I don't think we've extended for several years. There will not be an extension. Good time management on your part will help you get to the deadline. We will see an increase in traffic on the web. You will notice on deadline day, if you're in there, it may be a little slow. It may be a little sluggish. It may be a little non-responsive. But that's what happens when everyone waits till the last minute. So beat the rush, get in there and move around while it's comfortable, while it's fast. What else was I was going to, anyway, I don't know what I was going to say about that, but think ahead, time block. You don't have to do this all in one sitting. Historically, students who do this in small bites throughout, so over the course of a month, have a much better, stronger application and they stand a better chance of getting a scholarship because judges know they can tell how much time the students have spent on applications. They've proofed them, they've had peer reviews, they've had advisor reviews, they've worked with writing coaches. They have gone over those applications with a fine-tooth comb, and judges know the difference. Well, I think in this slideshow, we've got some judge feedback that's kind of brutal in some instances, but it's true. When we ask for feedback from our judges, we take it very seriously. So when you get ready to do this, know that you're going to have a letter of recommendation. There's a great article in the support library that will tell you who to ask, when to ask. There's a form that you can download and turn in. But you do have to have a letter of recommendation, and I encourage you to start thinking about it as you start completing your scholarship application. It should not be a surprise. Like I said, we've got an article that tells you you need to ask for this at least 2 weeks in advance. Please don't go to your recommenders on November the 30th and say, I need a letter by tomorrow, because they don't come at you, they come at us and say, how dare you let this student ask for a letter the day before the deadline? So even though it's your application and it's your letter, it's my fault that you're not doing it ahead of time. So I'm telling you right now, I'm going to use my best mama voice. Do it ahead of time. Don't make me answer the phone and say I can't make Kristin do right. I told her in October that she needed a letter. After you've asked for your letter and gotten a letter, please send a thank you note. Gratitude is so very important to your recommenders. They're taking time out of their busy schedules to do something that could legitimately make or break your scholarship application. We hope that it makes it. We hope that it supports it. We hope that it pushes it over the finish line. So you do need to send them a thank you note. Another best practice is to focus on storytelling. Again, these are judges that are independent. They're not associated with Phi Theta Kappa. They're reading scholarship applications from all over the country. You guys are all mixed up together. We don't read them by school. We don't read them by state. We don't read them by region or division. They're all jumbled together. And so judges from all over the country are reading applications from all over the country. They don't know you. So this scholarship application is your vehicle to tell your story and to illustrate the impact you're having in your on your campus, in your community, on those people around you, how you're exercising your leadership and using your skills and talents. So this is your vehicle. You need to learn how to use it to tell your story. Writing is important, but reading is fundamental. So I encourage you to read the application, understand the questions that are being asked, understand how it all flows together, and draft some sample responses. You don't have to put it in the scholarship application, or you can, and you can make changes. We'll circle back to the scholarship resume in a minute. If you don't know, ask. If you don't understand a question on the scholarship application, email us. Ask the question. Don't sit there and say, I just don't know. I don't understand what it's asking me. I didn't understand what to put there. We are a resource for you. So if you don't understand a question, you don't know how to answer a question, send us an email and ask us. If you don't ask, the answer is always no. And I do not ever want someone sitting there saying, well, I couldn't finish my scholarship application because I didn't understand this one question. We are always happy to answer a question. If I'm being honest, the answer is probably in the support library, because if you're asking the question, someone else has probably asked the question before you. So we've got a wealth of information to support you through this process. Tips on writing, tips on getting your letter, what judges are looking for. There's a wealth of information in there. So log into the support library at support.ptk.org, click on scholarships. You will find a multitude of information. So have proofing parties, get your friends together, get your chapter members together. Ask someone from the Writing Center, ask your advisor to come, ask a previous scholar to come. Share your applications with each other. Take the feedback, be nice, accept constructive criticism. Sometimes people are able to point out things you're doing that you don't recognize or you don't want to include. And they'll say, well, you know, Kristin, you're doing this great work, doing this, this, and this, but you didn't write about it in your application. You should find a place to plug it into your application. So sometimes it helps for people to look objectively at what you've written. It's good to put it down and walk away from it for a day or two and come back and find your mistakes, find your grammatical mistakes, find your misspelled words. Proofread, please. Proofread. I beg you, proofread. That can make or break your scholarship application. This piece of advice is read it aloud and read it backwards. Make sure you catch your mistakes. And once you're good and you're pretty convinced that it's the best you can do, download another copy of it. Hit that download button again and download another PDF. It will save everything you've written in your scholarship application, and you'll have it for use later. Before we move to external scholarships, in the support library, you will notice a scholarship resume. If you have never used a scholarship resume or built one, I encourage you to start. A scholarship resume is a great way for you to capture all of the information that you have entered, that you may be asked. The more scholarship applications you do, the better you get, the more information you collect, and the better your scholarship resume is. So you can just sit down to do, say, the Jack Kent Cook scholarship application, which is open now. You can just take your resume, plug in the details, do your writing prompts, and you're done. You don't have to sit there and think about, when did I accept that leadership role? When did I become the vice president of my chapter? When did this happen? Got all those things written down. Jack Kent Cook announces their scholars in the spring like we do. Historically, 85% of Jack Kent Cook scholars are Phi Theta Kappa members, because what you're doing on your campus, in your community, and how you're impacting others, that's what the Jack Kent Cook organization is looking for. So historically, PTK members are very successful in the Jack Kent Cooke Scholarship application, and I have been told that our application process is a good way to prepare for Jack Kent Cooke. If you can get through our process, you will not be intimidated by Jack Kent Cooke. So if nothing else, use us to practice. So external scholarships, all of those opportunities that I spoke about in the very beginning that are offered by four-year colleges are housed in PTK Connect. That is connect.ptk.org. You can log in with your normal PTK username and password. It is members only, but you can search for scholarships by state. You can look for a school that you're interested in. You can compare. You can put favorites on your list. You can see what's out there from coast to coast. Each of those listings will give you the person to contact at that school, and that person will be able to tell you what their deadline is and what their process is. And you can do as many of those as you want to. It is not connected in any way, shape, or form with the application that I have spent the majority of the 30 minutes talking about, but they are available there for you. Also, our members do well with organizations like Jeanette Rankin, the Fulbright Scholars, the Hispanic Scholars Foundation. There are other external scholarships. If you need a list of those resources, send us an email and we'll shoot you our list of scholarship resources that we've vetted. As you can see by my map, there are hundreds of scholarships all over the country. So what else am I missing, Kristin? Anything good?
I'm trying to think. You've hit the high points.
Hit the high points, and
We're getting
we've
a
got
lot of
2 minutes.
good questions. We're
Good
getting a lot of
question.
good questions in the
Okay.
chat, and something I can certainly tell everyone: if you have specific questions about your application or why you were not eligible, send us an email at scholarships@ptk.org. We'll look into your application specifically and let you know if it has to do with your credit hours, your enrollment in a bachelor's program or an associate program, or if it's potentially a GPA, or if there's just something that's causing our logic grid to be confused. So we'll certainly be happy to take a look at your application or your eligibility quiz. So send us an email again at scholarships@ptk.org.